Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. The train cannot stop now. The train must continue to navigate, or should I say the ship must continue to navigate. There is no time to stop. There is no time to demoralize. There is no time to reminisce the past. The past cannot be changed. As we said yesterday, the game hurts, but there is no time for us to kind of answer questions which go like, what if Hummels didn't make that mistake? What if? There is really no time for that. We must continue on this path. We must continue on this path which says that in 2025 in the league, we are still unbeaten and we must try and complete something which at the start of the season looked very improbable. And we've got Cagliari on Sunday at home in a game which... Introducing this game, analyzing this game, I say careful. We'll get into the analysis in a second and everything, but introducing this game and having a quick analytical look at it, the first word which comes into my mind is careful, because I know my team, I know my players, and it is tempting. It really is tempting to demoralize them. It really is. What I'm trying to say here is that the players are sad. The players are sad because the way we got eliminated on Thursday is inevitably gonna hurt. So it can have some little repercussions on Sunday's game. We need to be good at kicking these repercussions away, kicking these ghosts away, and focus on our path and on these 10 games which will decide our season. But yeah, we'll have a say. We'll have a look at this game, and I'll give you my match preview and my predicted 11. Of course, Claudio did speak earlier today. It was a very interesting press conference because I actually think that initially he did not want to go live. But I think he actually said, let me speak because I've got two main things to say. And I think the two biggest pillars coming out of Ranieri's press conference today are the fact that he has changed his idea and he wanted to specify even before the press conference started. He himself said, I would like to say something before the press conference starts, changing his perspective on the red card, on Hummels' red card, and on how that influenced the game. Ranieri, immediately after the Bilbao game, said that it was a foul for him and that the red card was fair. 48 hours after that game, in the press conference today, we have a manager who is has re-seen that footage and has said that it's not a red card for him. That's the number one thing. Number two, which I think is even more interesting than the first point, he has basically given Dovbyk a last chance. Now, of course, he hasn't said this. Of course, he hasn't said this word by word. But he's made it clear, he's foreshadowed that Dovbyk needs to wake up. And it's not the fact that he needs to score more goals, but he needs to fight more and be more present in games. And he's kind of given Dovbyk an ultimatum, because if you listen to the press conference, Ranieri literally said, if Dovbyk doesn't want to fight, I've got 25 other players which are ready to fight ahead of him. So I think, I wasn't expecting it. And I think it's good because Dovbyk does need to wake up. And it's good that the manager is putting pressure on him. Because Shomurodov right now should start ahead of Dovbyk. And that is also my opinion on it. Because the team plays better with Shomurodov and because Shomurodov plays better with the team. But these are the 2 points coming out of Ranieri's press conference. So that's interesting. But looking at this game, Cagliari at home in our first of the 10 finals, which can decide if we qualify for Europe and what European tournament we would be playing next season. The reason I say careful is because, as I said at the start of this video, Roma really believed in the qualification against Athletic Bilbao. And you can tell this, not only you can tell this from the first leg against them, but you can tell from the reactions post-match on Thursday. A lot of players decided not to speak. A lot of players decided to keep their emotions in them and not kind of let the frustration and that disappointment interfere in the way. Adding on to that, the way we got eliminated will hurt the players even more. So when I look at this game, the first word which comes into me is be careful. Be careful because Cagliari need points, because you will feel that disappointment in yourself, and you need to be good at, in the psychological game, you need to be good at kicking that bad energy away. And number 3, Cagliari have been... I look at Cagliari, and I'm not a fan of Cagliari. Cagliari are a team which need to save themselves, which need points at all costs, which actually don't even have a terrible team in my opinion. But in these last few game weeks, that you kind of have, you'd expect more from them. But they've been a bit lazy in these last couple of game weeks. I look at their last game weeks: 1-1 at home against Genoa, defeat against Bologna, loss at home against Juventus, loss against Lazio, loss against Torino. Then they won against Parma, yes. But a team which needs points needs to be better than this. Now, I don't think Cagliari are going to get relegated, but they need to put a certainty to this statement. In order for this statement to become a certainty that they won't get relegated, they need to put a big exclamation mark on it. And I just fear that they've been lazy in these last game weeks, that they are going to prepare the game of their life against us on Sunday, against the team which will inevitably be demoralized. So when I say be careful, don't let the bad vibes and the bad energies and the black magic of Thursday's game invade you too much. Because if you do let all of this bad momentum in you, then I think Sunday can be a dirty game. I think tomorrow's game can be a dirty game. Because I think the fact that Cagliari have been bad lately, I see this game as a Ferris wheel. You know, you go to a theme park, Ferris wheel, get your ticket, and sometimes you stop on top of the Ferris wheel and you see the entire horizon, and sometimes you stop in the bottom of the Ferris wheel. And Cagliari have been stopping in the bottom of this Ferris wheel for way too much time, that they need that game to put a certainty on their anti-relegation thoughts. So if we let ourselves get influenced, if we let our minds let them absorb all of Bilbao, oh, I'm demoralized because I really believed in that tournament. And the reason I'm demoralized and not concentrated is because of the regret of not having played your cards in that game and having took the chances that you want to take. I know, but that's where a good team comes out. That is where a good team evolves, and that is where a good team forgets about the past and thinks about the present in order to improve the future. But the way we got eliminated on Thursday could influence even the best of football teams. Having said this, their biggest player is Piccoli, their striker. And the player which I can't stand in this team is Yerry Mina in defense. We must be careful because Yerry Mina is a butcher. Yerry Mina is not only a bitch, he is a butcher. He is going to get those dirty fouls, and the last thing we need right now, if we need a miracle in the season, is injuries. So Yerry Mina worries me, not on a football level, but on a bitchy level. Piccoli up front, of course, they've got Nicola on the bench, But I'm not. I'm only a fan of Nicola when it's like the last 3 game weeks of a season. I think if you put David and Nicola in a team prior to the 3 last game weeks of a season, I think he's a below average manager. And then in the last 3 game weeks, he turns into Carlo Ancelotti and manages to save literally every team he manages. So yeah, Cagliari don't worry me. Cagliari only won 2 games away from home this season and only scored 12 goals away from home this season. This is not a team which we should be worried against. But I do say careful because football is weird and it's these moments where we need to act as a team more than any other moment. I still think we'll win. And maybe after all of this speech that I had, we will win. The wind will blow in the good direction. But I don't think we will win with a massive confident note tomorrow. I don't see a 4-0 win. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't see a 4-0 win. Tomorrow's game I see more like a 1-0, 2-1, 2-0 win, which it's a win, it's 3 points. Of course I'd sign for it, but with a bit more hassle in it. That's what I see us tomorrow. My predicted 11 is this. There we have it. Am I read a few? Como winning 2-0 against Milan. Oh my days, is that true? No, 1-1. 1-1, mate. It's not 2-0. Pulisic scored. Yeah, if they drop some points tonight, it would not be bad at all. As we said yesterday, in order for us to get a good position in Europe this season, it does depend on us, but it also depends on the other teams. So as many teams as Milan lose points, it's good for us. But it's 1-1, not 2-0. Dovbyk has 14 goals this season, but I feel like Shomurodov has been playing good and has been pressing a lot. Yeah, I think Shomurodov plays better with the team. I think in this system, Shomurodov plays better. And I would also argue that Dybala prefers to play with Shomurodov. I don't think Dybala starts tomorrow because Ranieri said he's not 100% fit. So I think Sule will start, and then if we need a Dybala, he'll get subbed in. But I think even the likes of Sule, Baldanzi and these players, they prefer to play with Shomurodov because Shomurodov has better characteristics for the way these players want to play and the way Ranieri wants to make them play. Because the problem with Dovbyk is that I agree with people who say that he doesn't fight. And that's the problem with Dovbyk. I don't necessarily criticize Dovbyk on a number point of view because being a foreign striker who is coming from a different league, first season in Italy, has never played in Italy before, extremely tactical and defensive league, add on to that the psychological element of his country living the situation that it is, I don't even think Dovbyk has done bad in terms of numbers. 14 goals, 15 goals in all competitions for somebody who's at its first season in Italy is not bad. It's what Dovbyk gives on a football pitch, which I am not convinced is correct. I am not. It's the attributions that he gives to the whole in the whole scale, the large scale, that I'm still not convinced about, because Dovbyk doesn't fight. Dovbyk does not fight, and Dovbyk gets asked to keep balls that sometimes he does keep, but the majority of times he doesn't. So I don't criticize the numbers, the goals. No, this is the season that I was expecting from him. I was not expecting anything better and anything worse. But it's what it's what he gives more than just the goals, which I don't think is good. And it doesn't make the players play well. Because Dybala still, in my opinion, hasn't understood how to play with Dovbyk. And similar with Dovbyk not understanding how to play with Dybala and Sule, for example. Shomurodov is more of he wants the ball long, so Dybala can serve those balls. So I think, but also what Ranieri said in the press conference, I think Shomurodov starts tomorrow. Yeah, of course, the big question which everybody's asking is Hummels in or Hummels out. I would start Hummels. I would. Because I would, and I think a champion like him, after a mistake like the one that he made, wants to get the best out of himself and wants to respond present. I would start Hummels. The reason I think he won't start tomorrow is because he will. It's not. It's not the best, but I can guarantee you that he is inevitably going to get booed tomorrow. Not by the whole stadium, but there will be that majority that, not that, maybe it won't even be a majority, maybe it will be just a minority, but he is going to get booed. And I am not saying that Hummels gets influenced by the boos. He is a champion, but you never know. So I've gone with Nelson in this one. Hummels needs not a break, because saying that Hummels needs a break is ridiculous. Hummels has had far too many breaks this season. A mental break. That's what he needs. Because the mistake that he made, red card or not red card, fucked their season up. So it's inevitably going to lead to some bad injections in him, okay? So the only reason I've put Nelson, I'd start Hummels, but I'd also agree with the idea that he needs a mental rest, because the stadium tomorrow will not happily digest what he did on Thursday, which is something that he can't do, was never even imagined to do, and it's something that you can never imagine from somebody like him. And it has shook him. So the only reason is that. But I mean, you can hate Hummels as much as you want. You can criticize him as much as you want. These mistakes happen. It's just the fact that in such games they can't happen. And from a player like him, they can't. So it's his fault. Of course it is. But there's no point in hating, victimizing, and, pointing the finger right now. We're out. There's nothing we can do about it. If there's one thing that we must and can do, is unite in these last 2 months of football. Ranieri, another report of Cagliari last season. Yeah, Ranieri's past is obviously important. What are your thoughts on if we should make Guina, Duarte and Nelson permanent deals, and if they should start against a team like Cagliari? Well, I've seen very little from them, mate. I've seen very little from them. From what I've seen on Guina, Duarte, from the little I've seen, I haven't been disappointed. I think he has potential, but I don't think we'll buy him, because in order for us to buy him permanently, he needs to start a tot of games, and he's not starting any games. And now that we only have these games left, I don't think he's gonna get much game time. So maybe they fixed the price tag too high and decided that it's not worth the grab, so he's not playing much, so that they don't want to let that automatic purchase happen. Nelson, it depends. It depends what we get. It depends where we get. These are all questions that we can and it's not fair to answer these questions because I've literally seen 10 minutes of them. I know Nelson played a full game last weekend, but before that one he played 0 minutes. So maybe we're gonna see them a bit more, and we're gonna see what we do. Am I the only one that finds it odd that Totti doesn't come to any games? Totti's living his life. Bro became a travel vlogger. I agree with you on Hummels. Let the dust settle and he can come back fresh after the European break. I think Claudio's words suggest that Hummels is not done. Well, I think Claudio, after the game in Bilbao, Claudio going, it's a red card, end of story, is a way of kind of removing the responsibility from Hummels. So you can tell that Ranieri will start Hummels in more games, and that, the two haven't broke up. Then now, 48 hours later, you have the manager who's kind of re-seeing his words and going, that's not a red card. But the initial reaction that Ranieri had was more of a reaction to protect the player and say, he made a mistake, let's move on, rather than inventing narratives which can then influence himself. So that's my match preview. Prediction tomorrow is 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. I think we'll win. I think we'll get the job done. But it's not going to be as easy as I think people will describe tomorrow for the reasons that we stated in this video. Other than that, Sule to start, Shamrado up front, Baldanzi, Pellegrini could start. I can see Pellegrini starting, but Baldanzi is in a good moment. He was the best in Bilbao, so might as well continue with him and implant that confidence. Salamakers, Paredes, Kone, and Angelino in the midfield. So that's my predicted 11. Let's get 3 points. And let's not dramatize this end of the season. We've still got a lot to play for, and it's important to remain united and fight for our objectives. I'll catch you tomorrow with a match reaction. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Simo out.